adjourn.
I hear other ones coming through.
It's not that bad. That's what's in the building.
Yeah, that was coming through.
Can I do some?
You're supposed to be on the right. I don't want to do it, but first because that's the last one. That's for Stewart. So yeah, Stewart's stepping down. They give them extra 2 weeks, and so yeah. Hi, 7 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everybody out to the Stansbury Service Agency for Director of Work meeting. For those who haven't been here a lot, the protocol is that we don't take public comments at this meeting, but we do respond to previous comments. And the comment section will be on the business meeting, which is the middle of the week because of Thanksgiving, so that's next Wednesday. So it's an individual schedule that way. First of all, roll call.
Maria Sweet here.
Reynolds here.
Aaron Jacobs, Slayer here.
John Wright here. Jim Manzalka and Cassandra Arnell is off on vacation for the week. She'll be back. Pledge of allegiance, Kyle. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So the first thing we do is we had a couple of other people on the original agenda. EWR canceled as the individual is not called. And so
You gotta hold that mic up.
he will be on the agenda the 5th of December, I think that is. So we're going to start right into the review and public comments. The first thing I wanted to address, there's been a lot of discussion out there about transparency. Well, part of what's being discussed is transparency with communication. So it helps get the definition right. Communication is an exchange or dissemination of information. So if somebody says, I didn't get word on the meeting, that's communication. Transparency, as it refers to in state modules, is access and visibility to operations, status, and finances of the organization. So it helps us understand what the complaints are if we really define those. So communication, since it's near, I was going to say I'll tell a war story. Everybody likes a war story. When I was a tank platoon leader, I used to sleep at night on the turret on the tank, top of my tank turret, with my feet on the searchlight and my heads, wearing my CBC and then resting on the commander's cupola of the tank. Why did I choose to sleep on a cold hard tank instead of on the ground in a sleeping bag? Because throughout the night, we would periodically get communications checks. The idea was that they needed to make sure that all those units were still functional and they hadn't been overrunning the night, so they had to shift forces. It was our responsibility to respond to that communication from my command. So I would lay there and I would sort of listen, and if my designated radio watch guy didn't respond, I would respond. This is Bravo 2-1, Roger. Then I'd crawl off my tank and go over and find the responsible individual and wake him up so that he would understand you need to respond to command calls. So that's an example of communication. And since communication, I respond back, we exchange information. So some of the things that we are doing as a board to try and enhance communication, we updated the website, made it more user-friendly. It worked pretty well during, once we got it running, worked pretty well during the Stansbury days. And we also have been improving that as we go along. In the spring, Cassandra Arnell put the state of the park letter out to be transmitted in various forms. We have a newsletter that we've restarted that is on the service agency website. We are also downloading it to social media. We have links on the website too, the public notice website. A thing for our messaging information, and we also have a form on there where residents have input for us. They can fill out the form and send questions back to us. We've been getting a lot of those. We've been responding to them, including the lady who said she was upset that we didn't help her revive the bird that fell out of the bird nest. We also post the agenda, a hard copy of the agenda on 3 places: clubhouse doors, golf course, shack over there, and spit. We also have a Facebook page that we started. And one of the problems we have with the government agency is we have to be able to archive any communications we put out. So that's one reason we don't use the Stansbury residence page, because we can't archive that and don't own it. So what we've been doing is putting information on the Facebook page and then having individuals sharing it over to those other sites, because it's not us that we share it. So if you see something you like, move it from our page over to another page so others can see. Other things that we've talked about and haven't necessarily been able to implement, we would like to collect a set of emails and phone numbers so we can contact people. Garden City, where I have a family cabin, has a really neat system where if they're going to shut the power down for a day, they have a reverse 911, and I will get a call on Garden City that tells me the power of our cabin is going to be shut down. That would be a neat system. I don't know what that would cost, and probably not practical for us. But if we have the contact information, we can make that contact. We talked about streaming agency meetings. We're sort of technology limited on that, but I know those people have been using iPads. So we're trying that tonight to see if we can make that system work for us. We have had other suggestions for notifications. Postcards was one. Problem with postcards that mainly for the truth and taxation thing cost us about $3,000. That was $1,000. That was done by a Stansbury resident, by the way, food business. The standard rate that people have been using for truth and taxation things would have cost us $4,000. It was $1,000 savings, as well as if you got a one-time response. Signage to announce the meetings, in addition, we're already putting those, is also a production and replacement cost. One of the things we did in this cycle is early on, I held a public meeting where we actually had discussion. The way the system's set up, it doesn't enhance discussion between us and the public. So I did a Q&A early on in this cycle, and we held an open house for a week so that we could actually be one-on-one with individuals. And my office is always open to come in and talk to us, and we've had a number of individuals come in and talk to us in the office face to face. Surveys are sort of limited. We like to do surveys, but we need that list of phone numbers and emails to be able to do that effectively. And recently we've added minutes to the website, so you don't have to follow through that state control system. So we're going to put files on the website so you can actually find that. In terms of transparency, the first thing we really did with that, recently was I did a complete organization assessment organization, top to bottom. Took it apart, looked at how we were operating, found problems, fixed what I could. And we've been working off that assessment to try and improve the operation of the agency ever since. I changed how we were presenting the financial status of meetings so that it was clearly understood. Might not have all of the lines on the budget, but it does have a summary, and that comes directly out of our budgeting software called Force. We've changed the process to ensure that all of the actions that we execute are presented and discussed at open board meetings instead of just done internal to the office. In the past, the GM has just executed a program and not necessarily brought that forward in a public meeting. We have changed that so that's not happening. The state has a transparency website for budgets. I've directed Ingrid to put a link on our website to take you to that site where you can see what the state says we can roll up as a summary of our budget. That does include line items, to give you a little bit more insight into the individual items in that budget if you're interested. One thing that I found in that operational assessment was we were not following our own board policies, particularly with contracting and equipment accountability. We are working to improve both of those. And we are adding a budget and audit system to the website. So, one of the issues that I got yelled at about 20 minutes after the vote on the 25th was that we just did the truth and taxation meeting to check a box. And we did. We have to do that meeting that way. It's still the meeting. And so we have everybody issuing their standing up to say their 2 cents, which is important, but it's not very interactive. So I can't get the information that I need, and we can't work across that. So I sort of put a timeline up there so everybody can see. We started the budgeting process back in May when I took over. The 30th of June, we issued, as required, a statement to the state and the county that we were going to have a potential for a tax increase. I issued that assessment that I talked about on the 8th of August. On September 29th, we had a meeting canceled because of illness of board members, and I did not have a quorum. So we turned that into a 2.5-hour Q&A session. 2 discussions for that night were the golf course and taxes, because we had announced that as a potential tax discussion. And so there was about 45, 50 people here, and it was an open exchange of ideas. They expressed their concerns, and I expressed what we thought, and we actually had a discussion so we could actually get some information back. On the October 3rd, that meeting that was moved, we set the potential tax rate. We then set the date for the TNT because you had to do the October 3rd meeting before we could set the date for the taxation. And once that date was fixed, we were locked into the time. The original plan was to start doing open houses about that time frame. We did, but because the timeline was compressed, that meant that we couldn't get to the TNT until the 24th. We had elected to do an initial decision on the 25th because we also had to approve an amendment to the election contract. Those had to both be done by service districts, not by the whole board. So since we already had a meeting scheduled for that night, we included the tax decision on that. We discussed a lot between the board members whether we were going to continue with that tax rate, have decisions that day, remove it. About 4 o'clock that afternoon, I finally got enough board members to tell me that they were comfortable with moving forward with that. So we elected not to table it and to make that decision. The final tax rate, as some of you will observe, will be determined on the 24th or in June of 2020. I think that's the schedule. We have to go back to the county and say, yes, this is the final rate we determined. Generally, it's the one that's determined in that through the taxation meeting, but it doesn't have to be. The problem is I can't go up on that tax rate, I can only come down. So this is with the higher rate. The only thing I can do is come off that higher rate, I cannot go higher. So that's the timeline for the tax rate. One of the most common comments I've got is, well, why are you going to the maximum now? Why don't you extend it out over 5 years? So because of my background, you can do an economic analysis and actually look at what's the impact of doing that. So the blue line is our requirements. And I set a increase in requirements of 2%, which is probably low. So over the years, the stuff we have to do is increasing by 2%. I then used this particular algorithm uses an average tax rate. I use 5%, also probably low. So both of those are safe side estimates. Meaning, it's probably worse than portrayed in there, but I didn't use real, hard and fast numbers anyway. It's just to give you an idea what happens if you extend that time frame for initiating the tax rate out. The green lines represent how fast, at the maximum rate, that tax rate would overtake the line where you've met all the requirements you started out with. You see that about 3 to 4 years, you actually lose your set and you can start taking the taxes down or setting aside additional funds for future use. If you look at the yellow lines, which is a 5-year spread of that initial tax recommendation, in other words, I'm going to start down and do my 5th of it each year, you see that you will never overtake that B line. You will keep raising taxes to the maximum, and you'll be stuck there and you won't be able to do anything about it because your needs will far exceed what you do get in revenue. Other comments. This is where I know somebody was listening. The golf course, there was a comment that said the golf course is the only thing that makes money. The 2022 numbers today are that we have about 547,000 in revenue, 548. We're actually up closer to 550 as of today. And the expenses were about 800. That's somewhat atypical because the golf course was operating at a lower rate because of the repairs that had to be done on the golf course. In a typical year, the golf course was about $150,000. Given what we've seen in the last half of this year, we project that the golf course may actually become self-sufficient in 2020, which is a plus. That means that's a chunk of money where I don't have to apply to a venue that's providing a service, but I can actually apply elsewhere if that's the case. One of the comments that we heard, and it was, I think it was in one of the open house sessions, was how about if we realize we have more work to do. How about if we initiate a program to adopt greenbelt? We have a large number of little pocket parks and greenbelt spaces throughout the park. And some of the neighbors who talked to me after that said, hey, we don't know who can do anything with those. So the idea was to formalize a process where those individuals that are adjacent or near those greenbelts and want to maintain them have the opportunity to do that. We formalize that agreement, and that would take a burden off the grounds crew that would help us do that. I've initially had a couple of kiosks or comments from people around the park. One was, what's the kiosks out here? The primary purpose, I think, was to reduce the use of the lake, but we could get additional revenue. The cost of the kiosk, I've been told, is about $8,000, which means we actually spent money instead of gotten rid of it. So we're trying to cut costs, not cut costs in the process. Volunteer efforts are great. We did a volunteer effort this weekend. That went pretty well. The problem is those are generally not sustainable and not sufficient to have a major impact on the budget. We still need those, especially this year, because the budget is going to be a lot lower because we won't get any increased tax dollars until 2020. Some of the cost reduction measures we've already initiated. Since sports teams use fields and require additional servicing, we've initiated programs for having sports teams pay a fee. That has created a great deal of consternation among the teams, among the staff. But I'm a pay-per-use kind of a guy. We figured if it's costing us more to maintain those fields, sports teams should be involved in that process. That is, I think, virtually every other organization charges sports teams. Increased fees for some of the recreation areas, golf courses, we increased the count for sales tax. We increased fees for pool and in the clubhouse as well. We are also looking for some synergistic things between my staff has a plan to do some business functions where you would leverage both the golf course and the clubhouse, so you could have a business come in and they would be able to do both of those. We are looking at water reduction efforts. We spend about $100,000 a year in water to spit. We'd like to reduce that if at all possible. We do have a little program going on to look at how we do things more efficiently. In 2023, by changing how we purchase our fuel and use it, we saved about $15,000 in fuel costs. There are some resident driven actions like lake monitoring. We talked about the kiosks. What's not on here is we've also pursued a grant program. We used 2 grants this year. One required some replacement docks that we're looking to install. Those are on site. I also had a grant from the county to do advertising outside the county. So I leveraged an individual here that worked at a radio station. He put an ad together. That ad aired during the fall when our golf course was back up and running. We've got some pretty good stats that that ad was fairly effective. If you're interested in seeing that ad or listening to that ad, there is a link on the golf course site in Stansbury Park, on the Stansbury Park webpage, that you can listen to that ad and use Russ 7 as the spokesman, most of you know Russ. And it seems to be been a pretty effective ad campaign. We saw significant growth using follow-up. That was just because the course was better, because that ad had an impact. It appears like it was able to leverage both of those and actually improve the cost effectiveness of the golf. The last thing I really wanted to talk about is this appeared in the paper as this came out of the audit for 2020 people immediately picked up on that $930,000, which all for the clubhouse. But in the heck, we spent $90,000 in clubhouse. Well, in the first place, it's not. This is what's called the total asset page. So this page is only used by external forces to be able to look at our bottom line to say, okay, this is how I can build this on this agency. The actual page, which is our standing, our actual operational standing, shows $807,000. Still pretty high, but lower than $930,000. So the problem is those categories were set up back in about 2013. So as you can see, that's a lot of money in the clubhouse. What's really in there is most of the salaries, wages, employee benefits, subscriptions, and telephone and natural gas. So we've had a discussion with the auditor. He is working to we changed those subgroups so they match what is actually in our accounting software for us. So when we do the 2023 audit, those should match as what we actually have. Last thing is the public comments out of the board meeting. We have 3 comments. Mill only talked about why didn't we have comments for the 2 recreation and 3 golf board meetings. Not something we normally do. We maybe need to revisit that for like a taxation or something. We might have public comment, but typically we don't do that. So Richard Davis stood up and addressed poor management leadership in the board for decades. And he addressing that by giving the board more guidance and tools to manage the GM. There's been a disconnect over the years about the board goals and the GM goals. And since the GM is executing those, a lot of times that's what affects, even if the board is not fully agreeable to that. So we're trying to, and that's the prime reason I decided to put myself up to the board. I thought I had some ideas on how we can fix that so that we can actually transmit the wishes of the board down to the GM and get that done effectively. Last comment was Mr. Only, who said he didn't feel the frequently asked question responses were accurate. I can't address that unless I know what specific things he was talking about. I think we made every effort to make those as clear and concise and accurate as possible, but I first call my life now. Okay. That's the comments. Like it's my show tonight. So the general manager updates. So Mill Pond Park, which is the one out here that everybody complains about, that is primarily there to service the amphitheater, but I really like it because it's going to service the sledding hill and A, get the traffic off the road and B, provide a place for people to go to the bathroom other than down in the headwaters of the Mill Pond stream right in the middle of that hill. People use it, but that's what it's there for. We have a contract out to connect the sewer line. That's probably the biggest part of this because it requires going out into the street. Unfortunately, the company contracted to do that had a major accident they're dealing with, so they do not know the actual timeline for that. We also want to connect water and electricity. The board is working on a plan to do that. We have an offsite company that's coming out with some help on electricity. The county is requiring to do a site plan. I have a meeting on the 14th to approve that whole area. So we should have approval to do it as all of that. Sound wall moved off the top of my head. The sound wall trail, which is the trail that runs next to the sound wall, has been in progress for about 5 years. That's a cooperative effort between us and UDOT. The county threw a little wrench in our process because they required us to go talk to Rose. We've got a tough time getting Rose to come talk to us. We finally made contact just today, and we have a planning session with Rose to look at how we line up the connection to that trail. It's going to cross the street and connect with the trail area in the amphitheater, Mill Pond Park area. The shoreline effort is a cooperative effort. Outdoor rec, Utah Outdoor Rec is to put in improve swimming and fishing facilities around the lake. That's a $216,000 grant, and we got another $16,000 from the county, which will count towards our matching funds for the $116,000 grant. That county money was used to buy replacement docks, fishing docks, and swim boat. We'll go out here, those are on site. We're working right now on how to get those out and get those docks. The other part of that is we're doing some reshaping, building out a park, provide a fishing platform. Hopefully that will draw the fishing population away from some of the less desirable places to put that. One thing I've done to slow that process down now that we've been in contact with DWR. He's agreed to help us do some planning, so I want to make sure we focus in on the planning for those areas so that we have a coordinated effort going forward. The bathroom to support pickleball court, we have a contractor that's working on that. He's done the inside of the bathroom connections. He's done the electrical run across the parking lot. He still has to complete the asphalt renovation over where that line's come across and do two connections to the sewer line and water line that's for about 50 feet away from where that bathroom is. So that guy is out and working on that particular project. I think that's all the ones we've got. Winterization was a problem last year. The ground crew was ahead of time doing that. One of the problems we got, I get a lot of calls. How come your water's so on? Well, one of the problems is that the water lines to some of the green belts are attached to the golf course. The design flaw in place, so you can't shut off the green space in the golf course. So as long as the golf course is running, the green space is running. I'd like to fix that at some point in time, but it can cost money. We're also looking at what to do with the pump house. Most people know we had a freeze in there last year. Not the heater pumps, but the feed line for the chlorine chlorine system. We've done what we can to mitigate that. But one of the problems is the electrical system of that pump house is inadequate. Ground crews found another way that they can connect the second heater, which we normally put in there. We're also looking for some plugs and ability to drain and refill. We utilize our cabins in the lake area. We drain it and refill it from there. That system not in the pool area, so we can do it. Just wanted to talk a little bit about what we see when we do these. Most people over here for district taxation remember that we had a failure of a line out in front of the building to shut off the water in the area. If anybody's interested in seeing that, I would cover the failed part. It was not, the problem was it was slapped together and wasn't done correctly. So I requested that individuals to fix it properly. And we're going to be doing a lot of that because there's a lot of repairs and construction work that's been done hastily, not. The problem was when that failed, it sucks and dirty. It put almost all the water systems on the lower floor, and you can't isolate those. filled with soot, it would, dirt, debris, whatever, and became unfunctional. It caused our old drinking water heater to finally fail, so we had to replace that. We had to shut down the whole building for periods of time so we could get all the toilets working. We just finished the rebuild of the final urinal because that had so corroded the sand and the fitting failed. And so we had to do a complete rebuild on these two urinals in the bathroom. So the problem with that is we have a single shut off the whole thing. I can't isolate the systems, which you would like to be able to do with your building this stuff. So that means we're gonna have to go back and at some point in time, we're going to buildings. Other actions. One of the things we've done is we've been working with the golf course to improve their operations. That is a primary source of revenue, and so we're trying to make them more efficient and more responsive to giving us data so that we can use that. They have a system called 4UP, which is a reservation system. Ingrid and I spent some time talking with guys on 4UP and realized we're using a tenth of the ability on that system that we're paying. So we are looking at how we can use that system to integrate it into our forest accounting system so that we can have a united system and make stuff go forward better so we can get more bang for the buck out of what we're spending on that system. And we had some input from the auditor on the budget. One of the things we found was his comment was that you change from budget year to budget year because of the way Utah does their budgeting system. You should have enough money in your residual accounts to carry you forward for the next year because you will not see the tax money until the following December. So I went back and looked at what residual money we have, and we are losing to that requirement. It's 2.5 million. We had that in 2020. 2021 was down. 2022 was down about 2 million. This year will be 1.5. We're losing about $500,000 a year to that role, which is one of the reasons we will get tax increase because we're not rolling enough money over to let us function throughout the year. And that's what happened this year. When we did the layoffs, we did not have enough residual money to carry us through the whole year. Okay. Financial report. This is the account balance. We have $139,000 as of the end of. So that's where we are right now. We have a month and a half left and 5 payrolls. So 4 payrolls, I'm sorry. So that means that we are right at the tipping point for being able to function. Pool revenue is gone. We're doing pretty well on the golf course. The first month of October or November, we did about $10,000. We continue that, and we'll make it through the year without having to do a financial ledger taking like borrowing from the impact. One of the things we're doing is, there's the expenses, so you can see how the expenses have been going. As, for example, in October, we spent $148,000 on payroll. That includes wages, salaries, benefits, all of that. You can see that we've got $139,000 left. We have to do everything somewhere. We've got golf course to finish up the year. The other thing is we will get tax money in sometime in December that we can start spending, although that does $500,000 in capital expenses was primarily initiated in 2021. The reason it's cost this year is that's when the equipment arrived. Golf course equipment can take up years to get there. So this was bought in 2021, it looked like we would have money. There were about another $400,000 in purchase for the live this summer that I turned down, so that we would have enough money to operate the rest. That's the total trust of 20. Yeah, that's what we should be sure. That's probably that. We haven't spent any more. So we're looking to manage to the end of the year. Our estimate is that we will have we have many funds to project the revenue of about 158,000. Between payroll and invoices, we're going to submit about 275,000, which is a shortfall of 116. Two ways that can be handled. One is we can do a short-term loan without much fee from the impact fee funds and pay it back in the same calendar year with no impact. The other thing is we can advance spending on our 2024 taxes. So that will handle all the details. So, comments. Go ahead.
So this information is very helpful for and us. We went through a lot of this information, even though
You speak up, John.
yeah, I'm trying to talk to this. So this part,
No, just get a microphone.
so maybe we should spend some money on the mics.
Yes, we've already.
But I mean, this is the kind of information or some of the information included and went through and struggled with here from June. And, you know, when we got into September, October, you can see similar things, similar trends coming. You can project as to what we're going to do. So I think it's nice, good, that we have this information for everybody. So, you know, it's critical to understand. I don't think everybody gets it, but it's, I'm glad that you took the effort to put it together and show that we're up against it. I think some, I think we're just still on guard.
Okay. Next up is the Solomon Park loading area contract. This is the contract we redid because we decided that we had given an unfair advantage to one of the contract bidders. He requested it be redid, we redid it. But the capital project working group went in and reworked the requirements that was submitted to all vendors. So far, nobody's submitted a contract. They haven't been able to do that. We opened the day where they could come and get questions clarified for contracts. Nobody took advantage of that. So we'll see what we get on Monday. Hopefully, by the business meeting, we will have a projected vendor, and we can make a final decision on who to award that contract. So that is in the packets if you want to study that.
So, if you look at it, we made, so we made minor changes there to make sure that everybody was on the same page about the product, you know, something. One thing you should be aware of, we're now drifted from October now to first of November, and it's getting not very tight. You want concrete outside unless you can protect it at increased cost. Yeah. So, you know, even though we get a contract or a low bid here next Monday, start seriously about and really want that work done. I mean, if I could keep the weather, you know, in the 50s, that would be a good deal for this, you know, but I really don't want us to spend money that like cold, like for 15 years. I know it's going to cost a lot of money. So just as you think this through, think about whether we should proceed. We may accept it, but we may not want to proceed until. That will affect the part. We're still clear all the way down through it. But we can talk about that. Well, we'll take care of it. I don't know. So that is her.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see this. Not dangerous. Okay. Next up on the agenda, one of the things that's been obvious to us is in our operator's manual and in the user's manual, there was not a whistleblower policy. That came to fruition in May, and it appeared to be a continuing problem. So this would be Cassandra's thing here. The policy group has defined a whistleblower policy that we put in the operator's manual is approved. You want to get that into everybody's hands so they can look at it, review it, decide if there's anything that you need to think about. The board has had this on our Dropbox for a day or so. So at any rate, we'll be looking for approval of that.
Thank you. All of these documents are on the.
Right, they're all on the website. Yeah. The completed documents will go on the website, and we initiated a process whereby this will be approved, we're recording the approval dates, put in the policy manual.
Jim, one thing on this, and in line with audit compliance, and I spoke to you about this before, is to pass our qualification of our score, we do require either a hotline or an email where someone can submit anonymous information as well. So I would like to include that in this policy if possible.
Okay.
So, Adam, when they talk about a hotline,
Yeah, so
what it would seem that if somebody would call this hotline and say, this is what I see, or this is what I think, that kind of call, I would have to say, see what sits against the law. But I guess my question is, if it goes through a, say, a hotline and or email, does it have to go to, I assume, that has to go to a party, and then that party one consent. Is that what we have?
well, the guidelines are a little vague there, right? So things like this, you can't establish an internal email for employees to whistleblow against them. If that makes sense. So it'd be an internal, generally a finance committee or something. Because it's a audit, it just it doesn't have to be. So we determine it to be someone else.
Our intent is probably that in HR, but we also want to provide a venue so that it can go outside of the performance organization, or there's got to be a mechanism to do that. So we'll look at that and anybody else? Once, twice, okay. The second thing you have in there is the compensation policy. We did this last year, but for some reason it never got entered into This is the manual. So the policy committee relooked at it, we floated it through the finance committee. There was some disagreement between the two. So this is the one that came out of the policy committee. And the finance committee would like to see a streamlined process, and I wanted to get that in here, but I couldn't find it. So we'll get it up on the documents page. The one Ann had, that was the more streamlined one from last year. Basically, what we tried to do with this one was, we're basically addressing the non-financial compensation, use of facilities, how often we can use them, who can use them, how long is that? So in other words, if you serve on the board for 4 years, or use free use of the facilities in perpetuity, that was necessarily a good idea. So the policy committee is taking a stab at this. I'm guessing this will require more discussion, and probably we'll be ready to go with that. But this is what came out of the policy committee. Note that there is a disagreement with the finance committee, and so we'll have that.
Jim, can we have, the policy committee's version and this one in an email? And then.
Okay, yeah, I can put it in an email.
We could do that, that would be helpful.
Like I said, both of them we have to drop off.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now for the, yes, for the on to the section. We put together a draft 2023 budget and a draft 2024 budget. Those budgets are in the packet, and I believe those in the website. Okay. We're going to put these up in a format that just say once on the website. I don't know if that's made yet. How that work. So, at any rate, the board is reviewing these. This is the first cut at that. We have until the end of December. I want to start people ahead of time so we can see issues that we might have in budgets, either the amended budget for 2023 and the 2024 budget. One of the issues we're going to have is because of the way the 2023 initial budget was and how the expenses were run, they're probably going to take a finding because we overspend in some areas, and we're going to have to. There's just no way we can adjust that. We have to borrow about $700,000. So take a good hard look at those budgets and see what you think of those, so that we're ready to discuss those.
So that's Wednesday.
But we're not going to.
I assume I'm discussing that we're going to vote till right.
Yeah, I'm assuming that. I was assuming with the budget, we give everybody an initial shot and we put together, discuss it again on the next month's work meeting, and then shoot for finalization, either at the board meeting the following week or at a special meeting. Now, the fifth is for everybody out there. We changed our meeting day to the 6th to the 5th, which is a Tuesday, because we have to certify the elections by the 5th. That's the next available board meeting afterwards, so we need to provide that. We're going to talk about that later. So, because it's December, we compress those meetings, so it's the 5th and then the 13th. Business meeting for that month.
So to clarify, Jim, here, the amended budget for 2023 will be done because the budget that was submitted back in December of 2022.
And it was based on.
And it was based on the proposed tax increase that the state shut down. So you can see there's $2 million in revenue from property tax in there, which is not really. So we'll have to amend that budget.
Yeah, and so I think maybe going forward, we'll discuss it again in the next board meeting and put it out so that we can week or maybe month, depending on. 2024 budget, we basically did two budgets. We did what we call the real world budget, and we did the fantasy budget, which was had to include the proposed tax rate. We started combining those so that we know we're going to have to operate on what we call the real world budget. And we looked at how you would distribute, if we all the taxes at the end of the year, how you would distribute those and carry them over the following years. And so that's what's in the sort of amount of those. Okay.
So yeah, finance committee met last week, we talked about these. It's a big impact, right? So if we operate as if we receive $3 million, we'll have to work against it, right? So we'll have to put money in that. Right now, we receive $130,000 in interest revenue because we don't lend against our future, right? And so how we sat and how we've structured, I kind of refuse to lend against because I don't think that's a good use of our money, is we will operate as if we did not receive those loans. We won't until December. So
That's the way
that's the
I
budget how it's presented.
that level of funding for 2024.
So when we're looking at the budget, and what you're looking at is not as if we had, just 2024 money doesn't come to us till next December.
Correct.
So we're gonna play the game as though we got 2023 money, that's it.
Yeah. Now, you can, if you have something you want to fund, say like you want to replace, you can fund that 30 days out because it won't, bill won't hit the money, funding for 2020. But it's the same issue. If I do that, then I'm taking money out of 2025. But you're just playing the show game. You're playing the show game, moving it down. All right, so look at those, everybody look at those and see if you have comments. Let's review that again, at least one more time.
So that just has monies.
And I don't have,
When the finance committee meeting go over the budget and everything, was there any one or two particular items that were says the part of no, but you felt like we can't do what we ever wanted to do, but we're going to take a hell of a. Got to really back up on. This was something that sport stuck out and said, no, we're not cutting grass anymore. Whatever. That's so farmers seem to stand out in this.
As it stands, no. The biggest thing is there's no budgeting or planning for unforeseen issues, right? So if we have another $40,000 go to the pool, those types of things. So something like that happens, we go a little bit up and April, May, we might just have to keep it close, right? Those are the harder decisions that we're gonna just have to look at.
let me answer that. One of the things we will be short on is available funds to do the basic maintenance on the parks. The mowing line, sprinkler repair. Somebody stood up and said, I did this lawn for 4 people. I actually talked to somebody who was on the mowing crew. But no, there was actually 7 people on the mowing crew and 1 person. I think we're at about 5 people right now. So in that time frame was 10 years ago. So you can see that I think we had enough. So how many? Okay, so if we had 11 plus of those when we downsized, that means that we're going to be short 6 people to get together. So we know we're going to take it there. So George, who's over that group, is already looking at what am I not going to be able to do in 2024 because I just don't have staff. So he's done a remarkable job with what I left him with, but we have gotten calls from various parts that says, hey, I'm not doing this, he's not going to my monitor. So we're going to see more of that this time.
But there are allocated funds for subsequent, right? There's.
Yeah, that includes.
There, but will there be limitations? Absolutely. The second thing would be, the biggest probably increase would be replanned on budgeting the general budget. That's probably our biggest hit next year. So we can get Jim, who's doing this voluntarily, for the last, 6 months now. We can get someone in or something. So.
Who's that? And
That's in the budget.
That is included in the 2022 budget. That's an incentive. But
No, I know.
we can talk it through.
Well, and that's.
Maybe we get a volunteer
That's
besides
fine.
Jim.
That's fine.
Maybe Johnson.
Yeah, the next 6 months.
Austin, you did. Okay. I wanted to make everybody aware of this, as you saw in the budgeting slides. We may have a shortfall. We've already discussed with Primrose how we would borrow funds out of the tax account on a short-term loan. The state auditor said you can basically do that, just borrow and pay it back before the end of the year. We were uncomfortable with that, so I think what we would do is do a formal document that says board is authorizing this transfer to be repaid within the year funds and taxes coming. So it would not cross over into the next budget year.
So yeah, probably not, but it also has to be paid within the same fiscal year, which we're running at the very end to pay.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you don't have weeks, so
Right.
there's gonna be a very formal process that you come out.
Correct. So that would probably happen towards the early, it might happen as soon as next business meeting, as we're watching the process. At least the approval can happen, but the goal is to not transfer a small amount out as we have to. You know that.
And to that point, we would want board approval on that. It would not be something that James would go ahead and do, so it would be something to bring up.
Okay? So just a heads up that we may bring the formal document back.
Yeah, and if you have any reservations or hesitations there, we can provide you the state documentation that allows us to do that for the state.
Yeah.
So, clear.
We're actually going to take an extra second. We want to leave the document. Place was, everybody's told you don't need to do that.
So in your legal document, we go for the state.
Yeah.
Yep.
GM position, we touched briefly on this. Want to start the discussion where we're going with the GM position. I would have done this in 6 months as a joint, as a dual headed position, and that's fine. But at some point in time, I think we have to move on. So my proposal is, it was in the budget committee, we looked at that and move forward with hiring a GM. I will still be around to help you train you. So, or her, okay, thank you, him or her. So, I think we make the decision to go ahead and move forward with looking for a permanent GM.
I hate to lose you, Jim. Sorry. Sorry, Tom.
I know that, but the problem is I run the street now. You can only do this so long without raising a lot of issues.
Right.
And so we have to make a decision. And Aaron's pointed it out. And I think, yeah, I can continue to do it, but I think we're putting ourselves in jeopardy. We don't actually make the effort. In the whole time.
Well, initially we did try to find a GMs. And, you know, we went out to many locations and we didn't just go close. You know, and the applicants were not
Well, we
the
have,
best, okay, let's just put it out there. And I, you know, we have struggled with the GM position for a while. You know, previous to us, to some of us being here, anyway. Trying to find that right person is a lot more difficult than just trying to find a traffic ticket. And it's, I guess, the relationship that has to be established between that GM position and the board, and who's given direction and who's given what, has to be established. And as I see the policy right now, I don't see that separation. I don't see that direction. We started to work on that policy and then we got sidetracked into other fires. So I am concerned that before we say, oh yeah, okay, we're ready to go out and find a GM. No, I think we need to make sure that the policy is in place that says, this is what it is. You know, and we can give, you know, we can make that part of the presentation. But this is what it is. You will work for the board or how it's said. You know, and who's going to, it's got to be a joint operation with somebody who's going to wag the dog. I just don't see us going out for that position until we fix the policy.
Well, whatever we decide, Jim, thank you for your efforts. This is not easy. These are advisory roles, and you've definitely been helping all of us out, right? I don't think any of us would be in your position, so thank you so much.
well, so I'm agree we want to address, not necessarily move forward with this right now, we want to look at policies.
I agree with that. I think we need to have a good defined policy as to what cohesiveness looks like and reporting and approves, those kind of things. So if we could work on that, that'd be great.
And it's a unique position, right? There's one person entering to six. That
Well,
should operate as one. The second thing is we can implement all the policies we want, but we need to hold ourselves accountable as well to that. Hold it to grant, to bids, and all sorts of things that we've identified. So
Yeah, the oversight of that position is critical, and that's the thing in the past. I know that the board, you need to fix that oversight of that. We had three GMs in a row. Various reasons. Less than, I want to go get a better job. That's a problem. It's a problem how we manage that. You don't disagree with that? No. Okay. So I'll feed that back to Sandy for the policy. As I mentioned earlier, we're moving the board, moving this work meeting in December from the 6th to the 5th, so that we can hold on the same night the individual, I think that's an individual, so that night, prior to the 7 o'clock meeting, we will hold a certification notice for the election, so that everybody can see the final election certified. Two positions, we have 3 people running for the Randall position, and including Randall, and 2 people running for Hammond's position. So those people will be selected by the 21st, and we'll have to certify the election. Okay, one thing, we will have a formal document review on this next week. This is meeting, because it's a scheduled calendar schedule for the sixth, so we're
Jim, can we make sure that as these changes are made and the dates are changed, can they at least get on our website as quickly as possible?
yes,
And then just kind of churn and burn those posts for a while,
we will do that.
ask people to share them. And have 5 or 6 people like the share that I shared today, and so that's 6 people that have another 6 people.
Okay. Okay, so this is going to be one that's going to be controversial. So we approved fee schedules for the sports clubs. We've been discussing with the sports clubs the fee schedules, and to a sports club, they said, oh, that's good. The thing is that we have baseball, use baseball as an example, because they requested the whole board come meet first. We went back and captured the cost to maintain the sports. We showed them that we were only collecting about 40% of the stuff. And so, those rate of captured 40% of the since then, we've gotten several different proposals. The one from the counter proposal from baseball is here. That moves their rate. Okay, so this is the youth baseball proposal. With no discount, it would have been about $11,000 to $16,000. We propose doing some discounts to ease that in. We propose discounts per hour for them. In the thing that would take it from 11,000 to 10,000 to 8,000. Baseball came back and said, no, we want to charge $10 per head. They wanted to only charge $10 per head, which would lower the amount they paid to $6,000. Because our fee schedule is fixed. Yes.
We said lower the amount they paid, it would lower the proposed amount, right? Are they paying anything right now?
No, nobody's paying anything. We are not charging anything to the sports sales. There are 2 entities that we found in Salt Lake Valley that don't charge. That's us and Willow City. Willow City is initiating the fee for use. Our rates are lower than any of the surrounding rates. Because we did that because this is new. We're trying to push down the cost. It's up to the board how they think they want to handle this. John would like to see us foster baseball as much as possible. So it's a discussion. And we'll have to discuss this further. If we elect to lower it, that would be a discussion we would like. Right now.
Well, the fees are in right now, part of the budget.
That's correct. We budgeted in $50,000 for payment of the sport.
That's what's created.
Softball. That's correct.
Is there anybody else?
Not that we know of. The other option would be if Stansbury Park Baseball, for example, says, no, we'll only take half of the water time. That would open up that time with entities outside the park using these fields. We have questions about use of those fields every day. So the customer base is out there trying to give preferential treatment to Stansbury because they support the tax law. one of the things that we discussed here is that these discounts will only apply to standard parking. In other words, if Stansbury Park decided, okay, we only want half of it, we'll came in and said, we want to use them, they pay for whatever they want. You have three entities right now that we work with, Stansbury Park Baseball, soccer, and Stansbury's youth. So, those are open for discussion. We mentioned the rest of these so you can see. Youth conference football, they propose even less, $5 per head. So that's 12,000 out of the 1,200 out of the $12,000 cost system.
But Jim, the maintenance of the field is the year-round cost, correct?
No, those are
That's just-
specifics to those are costs in excess of what we do. We accounted for how much extra mowing would take, how much extra fertilizer, seed, water, that, all of the stuff that goes with those individual sports fields using those areas.
And so as you look at the, like, the conference versus baseball, so there's a lot more effort that goes into baseball. Than there is in soccer football, than in soccer. So when you look at, why is this rate greater, less, whatever, that, there's a big deal in maintenance, is more to it than just.
And there's elite soccer. We talked to elite soccer and they said, oh yeah, our company uses Deseret Peak. They buy on their own $30,000 worth of grass seed, fertilizer, still rent the field. That's one field. So I think
They
that
have like 6 different teams on that same field. Large.
yeah, well, I don't know how, I would tell you that. I don't know, but I think Lake uses, has the broadest use of our parks. They use 5 different parks. Baseball is only Sagres. Football only uses Village. So they use a lot more of our parks. But at any rate, we'll be discussing that and potentially, let me know what you guys think about what types of discounts, if any, we should offer. We do have some slack in the budgets because based on $50,000, we could get slightly more than that if everybody bought everything. $10,000 or $15,000 excess. But so there is some leeway to give some discounts. We looked at maybe phasing this in, 50% discount for the spring season, 25 for fall and fall. But we have not decided what to propose. So I think they're getting ready to start signing up, so they'd like to know.
I need to start setting up the budget.
Yeah.
Right now, some sign up all already, I know, baseball, football, we set up the budgets.
So do you want discussion now or?
Sure, go for it. That's why they're here. Right in now.
So I'm gonna talk from the other side of my mouth. Because I've been a proponent of this tough decision that we've just made concerning increase in our taxes. But I'm gonna talk on the other side of the case too, and I'm gonna quote him because he keeps bringing us back to this. We exist to provide services to our residents and amenities. And there is a cost to care for those and keep them in a nice shape where our teams can play on them in a safe manner. But I think in this year, where we've made a very tough, very unpopular, very difficult decision on hundreds of families. I think this year, I think we should look at this and this should be a phased in and stepped up. Now that means dollars, that means we gotta relook at the budget and something's not gonna get done. But that's my feeling with this, and I think that the baseball group even making this proposal, I think that's great. They figured this out, they've come up with a number they can live with this year, and they're coming to the table and they're talking to us, which I think is what we asked for and what they asked for.
So,
Well, let me respond to that. I think if we fix a price, we like the fields because it depends on how many kids they sign up, so you can't quantify cost. You're saying I've reserved these fields and I know how many fields I've got. But if we go that way, it needs to be uniform. So if we're going to provide a discount to one group, a similar discount. In other words, baseball gets, if we make a decision, we only charge $10 for that. And whoever else should have that same agreement. I think.
I think that's.
Go ahead.
Sorry, John. Sorry, go ahead, John.
I think the problem we've got per head charge is a bad deal for us. I don't care which way we do it. Because if they happen to have 300 kids one season, and it's, let's say it's $10, like you suggesting, so that's $3,000. But it only has 250. Okay, so we take the hit.
That's
We're already
50
taking
kids
it.
less on the field.
That's right, we're already taking it. Okay. And I fought against this for 30 years at different locations. And, this, now I'm sitting on this side of the table and it stands up. So I don't think a per head cost is good. I would rather see us do I think Kellyanne has reviewed a number of facilities in Salt Lake Valley, okay? And almost all of those are all on an hourly rate. And I can see, having looked at her numbers and mulling it over in my head, it's not perfect, but it's probably a better way is to do so much an hour. However, with the rate that we are proposing, an hourly rate, trying to phase that, trying to get that all at once. I agree with what you guys said, we're supposed to be providing some of these amenities. All baseball field, or soccer field, or amenity or not, and we're trying to put it out there for the youth, we don't have places to do things. Not every youth plays soccer or baseball, football, but they try to do all they can given the financial limitations that we've got. And so I guess it just is it $35? We're only covering 40%.
Yes. So 60, if we, for no discount, it would be, we'd be covering that.
So we can cover 11,900.
That is 60,000.
Anyway, it just, I can see us, I would prefer to see it phased in a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, it's like, how many times do we have to take the damn can down? I can't do it right, I can't do it all, and I can't do it right if I do it all. So, okay, maybe we do it at $25 an hour, but then we're taking another hit. But I don't like the per person rate, no. I would rather do it so much per hour, let the leagues figure out whether it's per person or not, that's the problem. And, that's, you know, like, and baseball's got 2 seasons. These guys down here in Stansbury, they're very proactive with having spring leagues and fall leagues. As a soccer and whatever spring and fall league. Football has a fall league, so, you know, when they stay up here, if he's got 600 kids, only right there, 600 kids. Since 600 kids in the spring, 600 kids in the fall, it's 3 and 3. And so it's a lot different. I hate to penalize any kid for not being able. I don't care whether it's soccer, football, but it's really, we just spend time.
And I appreciate your kick the can down the road comment, because we've done that for a number of years. But at the same time, I don't think it needs to be this right now. I think we need to face it in, and we need to find a way to face it. Otherwise, we're gonna lose the leagues, because he won't get 300 kids. She won't get whatever they are.
I thought a lot about that. Soccer, ball player, soccer players. Maybe it's the parents' attitudes, maybe, you know, I don't know. But they don't seem to feel that is a impact that is insurmountable to them. Maybe it's because.
So you've spoken to some parents and they told you that.
Diane has spoken to some parents for.
So
And
they have two, I'm sorry, John.
Oh,
Some of these families have 2, 3, and 4 kids playing in 1, 2, and 3 sports.
3 different ones.
And so I just feel like we're just hitting everything really hard right now. And frankly, I'm not gonna vote for this to go through like this right now. So,
No, it is. It's very good. Yeah,
no, I mean, in terms of, yeah, that's, I'm asking for, yeah. Sorry, that's what I'm.
So. It was again tough to me, okay. And, but I now, I would like to see if there's some way that we can do a little bit of spring and a little bit in the fall or something like that. It's like, it's no different than the proposal to judiciary. Why didn't you guys take the tax for 5 years? Because it never catches up. I don't give a damn if you did it for 10 years. It doesn't get there. And so it's the same problem here. And it's, I don't think this is very easy. I don't think there's an easy answer. I think you have to do the best thought process that you come up with and say. I know the people over there saw like that box these days. They've been playing, or paying to play on ball fields over there that aren't even close to what we got here. As far as level of play, quality, and all that, and they're paying more. And they're feeling like they're lucky to have that place to even play.
So
And
is
I don't
Grantsville,
think that's right, but that's.
is Grantsville not charging? Someone told me tonight that Grantsville is not charging their,
My understanding.
okay? And then Taylorsville, which would be the closest ones, Salt Lake side, is $4,500 a year for 6 fields. Is that correct information?
I can't answer that, but
Yeah, Kellyanne put together a pretty comprehensive study of this round. And we picked one rate that was, we've had guys call us intelligent. So, let's do it. Well, no, proposed rates.
And we work on something to bring that up in services. have them mow and.
They are.
Baseball is already, I know they do, I don't know soccer.
Baseball told me they're raking,
They
painting,
do feel crap.
field cleanup.
Can we not give them that discount for those services?
All the figure that is there.
The 14 or 16,000 that it cost us to do it, they were doing that anyway, I talked them into doing that 2 years ago. Because I knew that I was hopeful that I'd be able to start this off. And work. Because it did for 2 years. And they,
Yeah, I guess it's time.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, we were somewhat already kind of easy in by coming in under the competition, right? Not saying it's the right amount, but that's what we approved. Secondly, 12,000 to 600 head, $20 for the season, then to use the facilities. To me, seems reasonable. I think the county right now, when my daughter uses county facilities, it's $51, right? So, 35 is in a pretty good comparative position. Second thing is, these are clubs and associations that have more than just Stansbury kids as well. Right? So it's not like we have a way to say only Stansbury kids get 10, non-Stansbury get 10. There's also a way to even say, oh, how many kids you got? I can tell you that 300 kids. Right? How many vets are going to know what's truly happening there? I think the hourly process is probably the correct way to go on this. We feel like maybe the discount, be open to it, but I kind of feel like we already are at 35. I'd love to hear from the community next week.
Okay.
It'll be great, right?
Yeah.
I think lots of open forum, be able to hear what everyone says, non-sport and sport, youth or community members. So, be a good opportunity.
All right, this sounds like we don't have a decision yet.
They plan on showing, presenting what they would like next.
We can ask them to.
3 to 5 minutes.
And that's, I think, all we have on our agenda tonight. Board member reports. Maria?
My one request was that we post the meeting schedule on social media and on our front doors. Keep that updated.
I think we did that for this week, so, because I saw some comments.
Oh, and the lights are not working out like it's the water issue.
The lights are not working.
The 2 lights on the circle.
Check that. I was not aware that was a problem. Yeah, it's a problem.
Oh, it's because of the time change that I'm noticing.
Right, I am in the process of getting the time up earlier, because
Okay,
I noticed it when I came in tonight, yeah.
that's it for me, thank you.
Randall? And
First, I just want to thank the group here, not going on lots of conversations. I think lots of what is happening. I think we're getting a lot of response from the community. It's probably the most received in our own tax and truth and taxation meeting that we have. So, appreciate that. Sure. Wanted to shout out to Angie as well. I think the Halloween events were awesome. I think we had a great show out. We can always use more volunteers. So as you communicate or people are saying, hey, what do you guys got going on? Spread that information. Hey, this is going on with these volunteers, people in hand stations. I truly do appreciate that, and I think this is the right trajectory we want to take the service agency. So I really appreciate it.
Can you give us an update on the water coming in from us to take it repaired? Or you indicated that whoever did it last time screwed it up, and so you tried to get the right person here.
yeah, we've got the water restored with the correct fitting. Yeah, well, it's a continual problem. Heating system in this building, and I quoted that. It's not designed, A, it's under designed for the building. B, it's not designed for the configuration of the building. So we don't get heat. Sometimes we get too much heat, sometimes we don't get enough. Tonight it's not enough, it's cold outside, just the way it.
So, I was not the one making progress on the ball field over the way for this group of people. So, and then, we need some to help you out with some heating, electrical, or whatever kind of.
Yeah, and the pool, yes.
All right, thank you.
I don't have anything, so I can motion to adjourn.
You have a closed session.
We do not have a closed session.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, Maria,
yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you all for coming. I'm proud of this weekend.
I watched it right in front of me. Hello.
This is a trying.
Are you just recording it, then posting the recording, or is it live?
So this is not gonna be posted, this one. We're trying to see how it's gonna work out.
I think it works good.
The
for
next
mine.
week will be